Good afternoon. It is Wednesday, which happens to be one of my favorite days of the week because I get to interview amazing people. Welcome to Backstage with Cindy Rowe. I have a wonderful guest today, Stacey from Society Cleaners. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to hear your story. We were just chatting a little bit off camera or off live, and we both went to the same high school, kind of talked about our tractor days a little bit. So this should be a fun conversation. Stacey, tell me a little bit about your business and start your story.
Sure. Well, thank you first for having me. This is a fabulous opportunity. So yeah, thanks. A little bit about me. Well, like you said, I went to North Boone. I grew up in my business. My dad was second generation throughout until I was 4 years ago. I had nothing really to do with the business. Tried to stay out of it, honestly. It's kind of like the guy's work of my family. And my father passed away in 2010. My stepmom ran it for 7 years, and she got sick. She passed away in about a week's time. And you know, the thought of the business closing was just sad to me, very, very sad. And so, you know, I kind of a leap of faith and just said, you know, look, I really would like the business. And my mom said, take it, do it.
Oh, wow.
And I hung up the phone and quick called my husband, and I'm like, so we got to talk a little bit. And he was amazingly supportive. And he said, do you know anything about it? And I was like, well, not really. And then I called my brothers and said, so this is what I did. And they were like, you know what, whatever it is, we'll help, but we're not going to work the business. And I was like, okay, perfect. So, you know, she passed away on Sunday. On Monday, the phone started ringing, and I opened up the computer for the first time and realized that the business was bankrupt.
Oh.
And it was in pretty rough shape. And, you know, my heart just broke in a million pieces. And, you know, I went to the shop the same day, met the guys, and was just basically like, hey, I'm Stacey. You know, what do we want to do here? And they're like, let's run. Let's do this. And I said, okay. Got back in my Jeep and I cried the whole way home. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Oh.
And I have such amazing, supportive family and friends. And, you know, I would just literally pick up the phone and call people and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. People had asked me about the business, and I'm like, I have no idea. But, you know, eventually I kind of got a grip and got a hold of some of people in our industry that I knew had known my dad, and said, this is a situation, what can you help me with? And I immediately was surrounded by 100 of the biggest industry players that were like, whatever we can do. And at the same time, you know, the trucks broke down and things were just not happening. I was just like, what have I done? But I was bound and determined. So I started reaching out to Chamber. I became a Chamber member in Beloit. I became an ambassador in Beloit. I became a Chamber member in Belvedere. And I started trying to get to know people. And it was probably the best thing I could have ever done. And, you know, to this day, I still, you know, have some amazing friends and family through those connections. And with their support, you know, our business survived.
That's awesome. That seems like a lot to take on and not even know what you were actually taking on when you said yes. So hats off to you, because I think I might have just turned away. But I get it, because family, right? And I guess something very similar that again, we have in common is that my family had a family business too, and I had nothing to do with it. And my dad always tried to get me, involved. But it was a guy's world, and I was not interested. And he ended up selling it before I was encouraged to take it over. So I give you a big round of applause for doing what you did and turning it around. I mean, it's been going well the last few years. You figured it out. I love how creative you even talked about. You've reached out to the right people. That, and I think building that strong network is key in a small business.
It really is, there's so much in small business period, even when you have degrees and you plan things and all your kind of pillars are lined up. Even then it's extremely hard, in that camaraderie of support. I can't even tell you how many days I come home and just like, I'm done. I don't know what I'm doing. But it all really honestly came together. And, the number one person that could have helped me the most was my dad. And he would have never known that I took that business. Mm-hmm. But again, my team, my family, and all these fabulous people that said, give her a shot. Let's see what she can do. So I'm just here to say, for anybody that's starting out, gosh, set up your chessboard, find your people that are going to embrace you and support you.
Yeah, building that strong core of believers alongside you has been, extremely important for me as well. And I'm, a single person in a business. I don't have anybody to lean on in the office or whatever when I come across an issue. And I feel like having the support team that I've created and the other marketers that I've built relationships with that aren't afraid of competition per se, there's enough business for us all. We're all in it together, and you lean on them. You have an issue with a client or a billing issue or something, and you're kind of at your wit's end. You really don't know. It's really, really crucial to have that support.
It really is, because, I can remember going to my first couple chamber meetings and seeing women and men across the room and thinking, wow, they really know what they're doing. And they've had a fabulous day, and they're probably driving an amazing Ferrari. And my perception was all off balance. And I was just like constantly wiping tears off, going, I don't know what I'm doing. But, meeting people after those events and really digging in and realizing that, it's an ebb and flow. And it truly is a love of what you do. And it's not easy. And it's not easy alone. My folks always ran it together. And when my husband and I had talked about this, he was like, do you want me involved? And I was like, oh, not really. And he was like, good. And I was like, okay, good. So it's hard. It's hard on your own.
Yeah. So I like how you said the ebb and flow too. I agree with you there. When you first started out, you said that it wasn't ever really an interest, until the passing of your family members, and now it's, almost like your passion work. So what switched, or what do you really enjoy most about this business now that it's been a few years and you're successful at it?
Well, yeah, I think it's just the way that the business evolved, the way that I evolved. My perception is that we were just going to do this and it was going to be great. I didn't realize that I was going to fail. I didn't realize, even when I felt like I was doing good, like I spotted a competition truck in the area, and I'm like, do you know how many stars I have in my company? How can you be here? And it all started coming together, like, just put your head down and do what you do.
Yeah.
And things just started falling into place. And I started accepting that I would try things and I would fail. But I was learning. And I could accept that I did or said something super weird or awkward at a meeting. And then I was like walking to my car going, what is wrong with you? But they were all like stepping stones to get me to where I am.
Yeah.
And once I started getting comfortable with, there was no, I didn't know how to be a boss. I didn't know how to own a business. And once I let go of having to think I mentally had a specific structure, I started going, oh, so we can enjoy this. And yeah, we're going to mess things up, but that's how I learn. And started really just kind of focusing. And then my track switched and I started, once we rebuilt the company, I started getting a little uneasy, like, wow, I really like that. And now what do you mean? Things pretty much are running smooth. And all of a sudden I started realizing that, I have another passion, and that was, letting people know kind of my story, because, I didn't know. Somebody came up to me, I don't remember where I was at, but they tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, aren't you that carpet lady? And I kind of giggled and I was like, yeah. And they said, yeah, we follow you on LinkedIn, and well, you're really brave, like sometimes, I don't remember how the conversation went, but it was something like how many misspellings and things that I have in my posts. And I was like, yeah, those are like at 2 a.m. And that's when my brain's most active. And then I decided to go with it.
Yeah.
Because that's just who I am. And to me, my perception in business is that they are not perfect. And I think that there's more people like me. And I think that the drive to be perfect is too hard for me.
Yeah.
And I really started wanting to tell my story so that people could understand wherever you're at, we're all at different spots. Be yourself. That's where you're going to enjoy it the most.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. One of you is enough, and one of me is enough, and we can be great at just being ourselves.
Right.
So I have to say, Chris Phelps has commented a couple times. She said hello, and then she also is a North Boone grad, and she's referred you many times and had great things to say, or people have had great things to say about your business. So thank you so much for sharing, Chris. I appreciate that. And
yes, thank you.
So what I guess I was kind of taking some notes when you were speaking, and I agree too a lot with your thought process that without failure, there really is no success. Like, you're never going to grow without some kind of mishap or, issues. And that's really how we figure out the next step, right? Like taking our mistakes, having to brainstorm a little bit, being vulnerable, right? To own up to them. And just like you said, your misspellings, like, okay, so what? I'm not perfect, that was 2 a.m. and that's when I have to do this stuff. But yeah, like owning up to that, being vulnerable, that authenticity is really, I think, at the heart of that small business owner. And when we can show that to people, that's when the right people come to us. That's when the right clients come to you. That's when the right clients come to me. And when I start trying to be like somebody else, I think people can feel it, they can see through me, right?
Transparency to me is, really an invitation. And it's exactly like you say. It's like, I think my dad had once said, when you're successful, when you realize that not everyone's your customer, and that's okay. And people call me, and it's so funny. Like, I'll be with one of the guys, I'll get off the phone, and they'll be like, "Oh, do you know that person?" I'll be like, "I do now." Like, I have a tremendous love for the Society family, and I feel like when people come, that's great that I have your business. It's great. But to me, the relationship is where it's all at. And people call me that never use me. They have their own people, but they have questions, or they're looking for advice. And I think that's equally as cool. Like, there's enough carpet for all of us, but just come to me, call me. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So you've had failures and you've had successes. Do you see the vision of when you took over? Is it where you want the company to be now? Like you said, everything seems to be going smoothly. Is it kind of where you're satisfied with how you've turned things around? And
really, honestly, my only vision for Society was just keep the doors open. Just please keep the doors open. We started in 37, and
wow.
I really am excited because in our industry, I'm 3% of women owned. So it's, with pride that we carry forward, also with my family, pride that we go into that 100-year mark. But as far as where we're going, I kind of gave up trying to guide this. I feel like this company is really an entity on its own, and I'm here to just enhance it. These guys are phenomenal. But customers, I can't say enough about. So I feel like as long as those guys keep doing what they're doing, and we keep having and focusing on that relationship, it's going to go. But like I said, I found a whole other passion in encouraging small business and especially women in business. I think it's a very dual, difficult role.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure what I'm kind of open to where this goes.
That's great. So the people that are your Society family, are they actual family members, or are they people that you've hired or kept on?
Actually, no, none of them. Although, a lot of customers will be like, "Oh, your sons," or or I'm like, "Oh, no, they're not." I mean, they are. They're my family sons. But yeah, it was relatively difficult to build a family business without family. But I stand, with them, and they are my family now.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough good about them, and I can't encourage you enough to, in these small businesses, make sure you love that team, because together you can do anything.
Yeah, that's great advice. So the guys that are currently working for you worked for your father in the past?
One of them had started with my mother. The other three, one of them worked for my uncle, who also owned a carpet cleaning business. And the other two, we were just lucky enough to kind of meld into our team now. So, and then there's a whole nother side of Society. We also have 4 amazing ladies that run our house cleaning division. So, altogether there's 8 of them.
Great. So what kind of I'm losing the word, values do you instill in your employees?
I get customers ask me a lot of different things. Number one, I feel like, I know for me, when I call somewhere, I'm super frustrated when I can't talk to somebody. Mm-hmm. To me, the best thing that we have to offer is, I'm going to remember that I talked to you. I'm going to remember what happened last year. How's your broken arm? Because I legitimately care. A lot of our customers are family members of customers that we've had since the 70s. So things are Sorry, I think I'm going dead over here.
No.
I know. But honesty and integrity and taking pride in our work and being very upfront. Sometimes customers call us when it's right. Like, I either need to replace carpet or I need to clean it. I'm not afraid to tell you that, look, we're not probably going to make a whole lot of difference. I would rather have your trust than your money. So I think that those common core values have really taken us far.
Yeah, I really like that. And I feel like that's how I built my business too. Somebody will come to me and ask, hey, I've watched you for a while. You're so good at blah, blah, blah. Could you help me with this? And, I could be like, yeah, I can do it. But in reality, that's not my specialty. So I'm going to be upfront and let you know, hey, you know, that's not my area of expertise. However, we can chat about, other marketing things if you're interested. So I feel like being like the word upfront and having, I'd rather not try to BS my way through it just to get another client, to get that money in the bank. And the other way I've built my business most recently is through education, because I know a lot of people don't feel they can afford a marketing agency or a consultant like me. And so if I could give them the tools, to help them do it on their own, they're going to see me as an expert and lean on me for those questions, and then maybe down the road, if they do, come upon more money or maybe a struggle that they know they can't handle on their own, they'll think of me first. So it's kind of, I love to educate people, and that's where I've found my passion in my business, and so that's what keeps me going.
Absolutely.
So the future looks like, are you, I'm assuming you have children. Are you preparing them to maybe be interested in the business? Do they feel somewhat of pressure to come on board, or?
Probably not. And honestly, if this hadn't happened this way, it would have never dawned on me that I could even possibly run a company, or that I could enter this industry that's primarily male dominated. I would have never even given it a second thought. My oldest daughter she's getting her doctorate. My youngest daughter wants to go into the police sciences. My biggest hope is that, at some point my guys will take it over. I really wanted society not only to be good for our customers, but I focus on the happiness of my team, and I feel like that is what's created such a great partnership, is their input, their guidance as well. So I really, I would say not for my family, but I would say for my work family, I would hope that would be something that, one of them would say, hey, I'm ready, let's do this.
Yeah, I love that. You have a heart. I mean, we all have a heart, but I feel like that's what comes out when I'm chatting with you right now, is that you really have a passion and a heart for not only your workers, but your customers, in your business, in your community. So I think everything will be okay, and I think your parents would be looking down and very proud of what you've done. So hats off and kudos to you, for sure. I've said it a few times today. You're amazing. Yes, and taking it and just having that surprise of, because you had no idea the condition of the business when you took it over, and having that surprise, and not turning away, not we're not saying the easy route is to close the doors. You were like, the best route is to keep this going because of what my family has built since 1937. And I think that is incredible.
You know, it really was. I was adopted, and you know, I'm certainly like in most teenagers, most young people when they get married, somewhere along the line, I just felt like, man, I should have sat my dad down and said how much I love him, how grateful I am for this great life he gave me. And I did everything I thought in his life. But, you know, once he was gone, I was like, what a great tribute to my family, to my amazing brothers, to my mom, to keep this going. And it's every single day somebody will call me and want to be like, hey, are you John Friedel's daughter? Or do you know the twins? And I just kind of like, yeah, I gotta know. It's the coolest thing in the world. It's like I still get to have them. I still feel them.
Yeah,
it's an incredible honor. And I think out of anything, my dad probably, if he was here and you would tell him that I own the business, I think his first reaction would be like, oh my God. But I think he would be very surprised.
Yeah, I think he'd be thrilled. Well, so one more question, and then I'll give you the opportunity to promote your business. What was one of the biggest pieces of advice that somebody gave you when you started networking with, whether it was the carpet cleaning people or the chamber people? What do you remember? Like, what sticks out to you as something that was valuable?
You know, honestly, there's something to learn from everyone if you listen. I just can't say that enough. Talk to anyone and everyone. But particularly, you know, it was a little bit of a struggle in my world because everything was so mechanical. And I was really like, that thingy in the truck over there is broke. And I had truck issues and machine issues, and things were breaking down in the beginning left and right. And I remember calling somebody in the industry and I was just sobbing. You know, these trucks run about $60,000 a piece. I'm rebuilding this company. I don't even know how I'm going to get it done. And I was talking to this gentleman that had known my dad, and he, you know, whatever he could do to help me, he did. But the number one thing he said to me was, endeavor to persevere. And I never forgot that. And I used that to propel me every single day. And there were some days that I needed to keep reminding myself that we're going to do this. There's no other way. So endeavor to persevere.
I'm writing it. I love it. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
So this is the time of the show where I pass it over to you to promote your business. Tell people how they can find you, whatever it is that you want to say. I'll put up your Facebook page and your website, but it's all to you.
All right. So over here at Society, we do carpet, tile, upholstery, hardwood. But I mentioned earlier, we also have an amazing group of women that run our house cleaning division for business and commercial. We do move-ins, move-outs. We do weekly, bi-weekly. These ladies, I can't say enough about them. Like, go get your nails done, go out to dinner, let these girls pamper you. As far as the guys, you know, let them take you on an experience you'll never forget, because they're going to pull you along. They're going to treat you like your family. But beyond that, my biggest encouragement would be, if you know somebody in business, pull them into your story, tell them, encourage them, support them. Let them know it's okay to fail. Let them know it's okay not to know what's happening. But keep talking, keep pulling your brothers and sisters along. As far as where to find us, you can call me, text me 7 days a week, 815-601-2501. Our website, you can book online, Facebook. Pretty, I think you can even find us on, you can message us through Google. So we're kind of an in-your-face company, and we want to be everywhere. So thank you so much for letting me tell my story.
I loved it. Thank you for sharing. And I feel like we need to grab a beverage and chat a little bit about our high school years. And
yeah, let's bring Chris.
Yes, absolutely. And having Johns as fathers and strong businessmen. Yes, I appreciate that. So thank you so much. I won't take up any more of your time, but we'll see you soon. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you.